Today on the channel, we float like a butterfly, sting like a bee as we break down the San Diego Comic-Con 2023 Mattel exclusive Muhammad Ali.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another little breakdown news video. As today we're talking about it, we're breaking it down. We're talking about the San Diego Comic-Con 2023 Mattel exclusive Muhammad Ali 2-pack. Of course, this one's been rumored. It's been going around the old interwebs, and we've talked about this ad nauseum in some instances, depending who you are, on this very YouTube channel in the weekly toy news every single Saturday. And I believe it was back in May that I dropped some hints out there. I talked about my grandpa a little bit and a few other hints. We'll answer those in this very video. As to why does Kyle's grandpa really hate Muhammad Ali? Did he lose a boxing match to him? Maybe. Stay tuned, but let's break this figure down a little bit here. Now, as I said, I found out about this about May 15th, I want to say. Maybe 14th, something like that. Middle of May. And it was floating around those old dark interwebs. All the dark action figure interwebs out there. This was floating around. And I gotta say, as a whole, man, it's a shout out to the action figure community as these pictures were floating around, like I did say. And nobody really shared them. Right, a couple weeks ago, we saw one. The referee one was going out there. Of course, people thinking they're breaking the news. Well, and I said, I don't think that's it, guys. I don't think that's it. Well, finally, the other shoe has dropped. We're the referee Muhammad Ali, and we are getting ourselves a boxing Muhammad Ali. So a 2-in-1 box pack here for San Diego Comic-Con 2023. And I guess first, let's break down what we're actually getting, and then I'm going to give some of my insights and thoughts. I don't know, insights? Sure, why not? But we're going to talk about that. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk if this is a good idea, a bad idea, somewhere in the middle. We'll break it all down like we usually do here. But of course, we're getting Muhammad Ali. Everybody knows the name Muhammad Ali for the most part here. But Muhammad Ali in the boxing and the referee gear, a 2-in-1 box packaging here, and of course the deluxe packaging style that you come to expect with Hasbro's and Mattel's around San Diego Comic-Con time. I think the box is phenomenal on this. I love how it opens up like so. I think that looks really cool. You got a little posing in the package for the on-card collectors. You leave them in the box, fold them open. Man, pretty cool. Now, at first glance, first impression on the packaging, looked a little cheesy with the figure holding up a I guess holding the hand of a cartoon picture of Hulk Hogan, and the same thing on the other side with Inoki down on the ground. Just looks a little weird. Personally, man, how cool would it have been if we had two separate 2-packs? One with Inoki and Muhammad Ali, one with Muhammad Ali and Hulk Hogan. I think we could have used another Hulk Hogan. Well, I don't know if we could have used it, but we could have maybe made that a little bit salvageable in there somehow. We could have made that one work. I'm not sure if they couldn't get the rights to Inoki or what. There was a lot of rumors at first that maybe we would get another figure with Muhammad Ali that wasn't Muhammad Ali, and really Gorilla Monsoon and Inoki would have been cool. And personally, I probably would have preferred that maybe at the end of the day. We'll see. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But let's break this one down a little bit here. So we do get the referee, Muhammad Ali. That was the first one. If somebody saw leaks, that's the first one they did see. We get tons of hands. Of course, if he's refereeing, he needs the 2 count. He needs the 3 count, the 1 count. He's got the gripping hands. He's got the fisted hands. He's got all the hands you could possibly want. And of course, we do get multiple heads with Muhammad Ali that can go back and forth between each figure. Same thing with the hands, they can go back and forth. You also get the boxing glove hands, of course, we've seen with Bob Orton, Roddy Piper, Mr. T, so it's getting the most out of your molds here, but it definitely works, and you cannot have a Muhammad Ali figure without a set of boxing gloves, so that's a slam dunk, no-brainer layup right there. But the Muhammad Ali one is pretty cool as far as referees go, as it basically is also an ultimate referee. So figure photographers out there, customizers and stuff, the sky's the limit. You pop the Ali head and hands off, you can make whoever you want to be a referee. You want to go old school Pat Patterson, grab that old Elite, you could turn that into a referee, Pat Peterson, from WrestleMania 1 if you really wanted to. So there's a lot of options there in the referee department. Heck, you can make a generic referee. So I think that is a good one for people. I think a lot of people will like that. And of course, he was a part of WrestleMania 1, and he wasn't the referee. He's kind of, you know, he's not a referee as far as Earl Hebner was a referee. Let's put it that way. But I don't know any celebrity that really ever has been. But definitely iconic. Definitely the wrestling tie-in of this pack, of course, was WrestleMania 1. Really build out that scene. Just a shame that we've never got a Mattel Jimmy Snuka for the era. We got one way back in the early Legends, and that was more later day Jimmy Snuka with boots on and things like that. So missing him is that part of WrestleMania 1. Maybe one day, but I wouldn't hold your breath if you want to. But then maybe the main event is the Muhammad Ali in boxing gear. Now, this doesn't have too much of a correlation to wrestling outside of his match with Inoki and Gorilla Monsoon. Would have been great, like I said, if we would have got those with it. Not in the cards, it seems like here. But it is an ultimate Muhammad Ali in boxing gear. Possibly, and I guess you would say probably the most iconic boxer of all time. I don't know if you can really doubt that at this point here. But it definitely looks like him. I think it is a slam dunk as far as looks. I think they nailed it. They got the white trunks, the red gloves, white boots, of course, soft, good robe. You can almost feel how that robe feels. It has Muhammad Ali on the back. I think it is playing all the hits as far as a Muhammad Ali Ultimate. I think this is basically what you would think of if somebody was saying, hey, what would an Ultimate Muhammad Ali look like? That is pretty much it. So very cool. Of course, tons of glamour shots we'll show throughout this video here that Mattel posted on Mattel Creations. Now this is $70 for this pack, which really isn't a terrible deal. If you got to think a normal Ultimate Edition is $30, let's call it, give or take. Out at retail, well, you're getting two of them. They're $60. You get this fancy packaging, and this is going to be limited. This isn't going to be out there like you know, a Bret Hart at Target. There's definitely less of these going to be made than even a Target exclusive Bret Hart. So there is some collectability here, of course, and then of course the crossover appeal with this one. So $70 doesn't feel like highway robbery to me. I don't know. You guys chime in. I'm sure there's always somebody. This should be a $25 pack. Well, I don't think so. And the other thing you got to think into it is I'm sure there's an Ali tax as part of this as well. Maybe it's passed on to us, or maybe Mattel's eating some of that. I'm not exactly sure. But we know that from Hasbro. There's always that Star Wars tax, that Disney tax. I'm sure there's an Ali tax with this one here because he isn't owned by the WWE. He's his own thing. He's his own property. That's why you see him in different things, different licensees and things like that along the way. But let's break this down a little bit here. So we talked about it early May, mid-May is when I found out about this, and I dangled that carrot. My grandpa hates this guy. Well, some people thought that my dad, who comes on the channel, was actually my grandpa. I don't know how old you think we are here, but that's my dad. He's not my grandpa. My dad's dad, he is 96 years old. He's still kicking. He's still fighting. He's ready to take Ali one more time. I think he'd win this round. I think he would. But my grandpa, not a fan of Ali, especially people of his generation, of course, growing up in the Depression, things like that. And of course, back then, pretty much everybody, if you're my age, pretty much everybody's grandpa served in the military, be it the Army or the Navy, like my grandpa, over here on this side, at least. The other one was in the Army. But the Navy. And of course, he was a proud serviceman. He did his duty. He didn't want to go. I think most people didn't want to go, but you had to. You had no choice in the matter. He was off to Saipan. He was off to fight in World War II, and he came back, luckily for me, for sure. But so he came back. But if you can imagine, people of my grandpa's age, and maybe some of your parents, grandparents, whatever, they were probably not a fan of Ali either because of his draft dodging. Yes, he did. He fought against the war. He wasn't going to go to the war, all this kind of stuff. I think he went up to Canada for a while. It's been a while since I've read the whole story there. But he didn't want to go and just refused to go. Well, people of my grandpa's generation, man, you got no choice. You got to go. That's the way you do it, and you fight for your country, all that kind of stuff. So you can imagine a whole generation not big Ali fans, and it's carried over to a lot of people. You don't hear about it much anymore. But there are still youngers and a lot of vets out there that are still not a big fan of Ali all these years later. And it's funny, as time passes, you know, controversies kind of subdue and go away. I mean, think of Mike Tyson. How many controversies has Mike Tyson had? Now he's like a lovable guy you see on TV and things like that. So it's just interesting how things do change. But Muhammad Ali, controversy after controversy after controversy back in the day, you know, he was changing the world in a lot of ways as well. So not setting well with a lot of the servicemen out there. And no, my grandpa's grandpa's not a racist. Are you kidding me? That's what some people say. Your grandpa must have been a member of the Klan. Oh, yeah, they're a Klan member, my grandpa. No. My grandpa, he loves everybody, except the people he doesn't like. Yeah, there you go. But that's the story on that one there. But definitely Muhammad Ali, iconic. You can't find many more athletes that are more iconic than Muhammad Ali. He's up there with the Michael Jordans of the world, people that everybody knows. And it's almost like Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle in a lot of ways. Maybe that's more an American thing, but everybody knows them. They might not know of them. They might not know what they did, but they know the name. They maybe know the face. And Ali is there. But taking a little bit of that step back here, man, I tell you what, it's the changing of the guards, it's the changing of the seasons. Do you think a Floyd Mayweather figure might sell better in this place? I don't know, that's just throwing that out, but it's weird because Muhammad Ali, in a lot of ways, is kind of thought of like Bruno Sammartino. Bruno Sammartino, all-time legend, but people are dying every single day that remember the height of Bruno Mania and what Bruno did. And Muhammad Ali has a lot of that stuff going on, and a lot of people remember Muhammad Ali for the last like 30 years of his life, you know, doing humanitarian effort, things like that, but also the Parkinson's. I think that's what a lot of people of my generation, maybe I'm wrong, we remember him as that Parkinson's, kind of the first ever look of Parkinson's in most of our lives. At least it was for me. I'm speaking for me here. So there's not a lot of people that fondly remember his boxing matches. And when I was a kid, it was very tough. You heard about it, you'd see clips, but it wasn't like TV and YouTube and stuff like that. Now you couldn't see Muhammad Ali matches. So it was a long time before I ever would see Muhammad Ali box because it just wasn't available to me as a little kid. There was no way to see that kind of stuff. So he is definitely remembered, I don't know, I guess you could say fondly remembered by many and controversial by some, but he's definitely remembered. But I don't know if he has the love that maybe some others. Floyd Mayweather, I mean, I'd take Ali over Mayweather every single day, but Mayweather was involved in wrestling as well, as we do know with the Big Show, and he is a part of a more current generation, which, I don't know, would that sell more in this day and age? Is there more Mayweather fans out there? Is there more people in the wrestling headspace that remember the Mayweather WrestleMania than WrestleMania 1 with Ali? I don't remember WrestleMania 1 outside of watching on VHS when I was young. I was way too young for WrestleMania 1 to even know what the heck was going on at the time. So it was before my generation as well, and I hate to admit it, but I think in the YouTube, people that do YouTube videos, I'm probably one of the elder statesmen. Oh yeah, give me my cane. But I don't know. I just kind of think about that a little bit. But with this being limited edition, this being a Mattel Creations exclusive, this being not at retail, I don't think a lot of that matters. It's going to sell out eventually. It's not having issues selling out because it's limited. It's not going to be one that's a traditional retail that could possibly peg warm. And dare I say, I think this may peg warm if it would go to retail. If this was just a straight up Muhammad Ali Ultimate Edition, I don't know. Is there enough Ultimate Edition or enough Muhammad Ali fans to buy this at retail? You know, it sounds like it would be a slam dunk, but think of Mr. T. Is Mr. T more popular than Muhammad Ali as far as wrestling fans and pop culture when you put those together? You could make the argument. You definitely could make the argument there. And if we remember back, and I had to phone a friend, my friend being my dad, I said, Dad, take me back to the old timeless legends. Remember the old starting lineups? And my dad, of course, and I hunting those starting lineups. I said, Dad, remember that Muhammad Ali figure? What do you remember about that at the time? Was it hard to get or was it a peg warmer? And he said, at least in our area, it was a peg warmer. So obviously your mileage may vary on that one, but he was a peg warmer in our area. So him at retail, peg warmer. Now, here's the other thing. This is an interesting dynamic as far as business goes. Put the old business hat on. We've had a lot of UFC lines over the years. Of course, mixed martial arts, of course, is what it was, the umbrella, but UFC being the player that had the toys at retail. We saw them via Jax, we saw them via Jazzwares, and we've seen other companies make UFC figures. Now, interesting enough, none of those lines have ever succeeded. Why is that? Well, I really believe that the MMA fan isn't like the wrestling fan because obviously MMA skews older. It's, you know, your 20s, 30s, and above for the most part. You got kids into it, I get it. But wrestling has a lot more kids all the way up to the very end of the 90s. 104 is starting lineup would say. So you got a lot more people watching wrestling, and you got a bigger, tighter pocket as far as MMA fans, I do believe. Now, MMA fans have proven that they do not cross over into action figures, where wrestling fans, it's a natural progression from, you know, the early 80s with LJN and Remco's before that. So MMA fans not crossing over into the action figure department. I really do believe boxing fans not crossing over into the action figure department. If we remember back back to those old Jax days of Rocky, they sold okay, but those were tied into a movie. But I'm not remembering a lot of boxing fans saying, man, I need that Antonio Tarver figure. Get me that Antonio Tarver. There wasn't a lot of that going on. So it's an interesting dynamic in fan bases here. And I do think the boxing fan base is very similar to the MMA fan base that isn't going to go over and buy action figures. However, this being Muhammad Ali, this being one of the all-time greats, one of the pillars of boxing, no doubt about it, I could see a few crossover fans picking up Muhammad Ali, saying, I'm going to store him on my desk at work. I need a Muhammad Ali representation, possibly. If this was just some no-name boxer, I don't think they'd be buying it. I think that's pretty cut and dry right there. But I just don't see the Muhammad Ali fans jumping into this one saying, hey, I love Ali, I love boxing, but I don't need an action figure, I don't need a toy. I could see that being the case. Now, we go to San Diego Comic-Con's past, we think last year, was it last year with the No Holds Barred set? Obviously, that was a big wrestling fan base. I don't think there was a lot of people in this world that say, I don't like wrestling, but man, I love that No Holds Barred movie. That's my movie. I don't think there was any of that back in the day. I don't think there's any of that now. You're a wrestling fan if you like No Holds Barred. If you're not a wrestling fan, you don't want anything to do with No Holds Barred movie. I think that's a fair assessment there. But you go back before that there, you remember the G.I. Joe, Sergeant Slaughter. It would be the first Ultimate with a chase as well. So you had that extra complexity there with the chase, and sounds like no chase with this Ali anywhere. But Sergeant Slaughter was a difficult one, and one that had me sweating my brow. I was patting my brow like Harlan Sanders back in the kitchen inventing his secret recipe is what I was doing. Because G.I. Joe fans are a passionate fan base. I am one of them. We love the Sarge. Wrestling fans, passionate fan base. They love the Sarge, and I say it all the time. My first favorite Sarge is always G.I. Joe Sarge. That's the way it is. So you had two huge fan bases wanting a piece of that Sergeant Slaughter puzzle there. You wanted that. You had crossover appeal. Now you get crossover appeal from Muhammad Ali, but once again, going back to my statement there, how many boxing fans want action figures? We know G.I. Joe. If you're a G.I. Joe fan, I'd say 99%, I mean, I'm just generalizing, 99% of G.I. Joe fans, they buy action figures, they collect action figures, they're involved with the action figure some way. Boxing, what would be the percentage? 1%? I don't know. So I don't think this will have the crossover appeal of a Sergeant Slaughter. I think it'll be more similar to, yes, No Holds Barred. Maybe a hair more than No Holds Barred. That's just my kind of business hat thinking of fan bases out there. It'll probably be a hair above No Holds Barred there. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting how that all ends up coming out. Like I said, I don't think we got to worry about this not selling out or things like that, because it will. It is limited. People will buy extras if they can. That's just the way it goes with any kind of retailer exclusive, especially big ones from the Mattels of the world, things like that. So some interesting business talk about all that kind of stuff. It's an interesting dynamic with Muhammad Ali, and like I said, it is controversial, but not as controversial as this would have been way back in the day. There's no doubt about it there. Some of the other things I wonder about this, does this mean more Alis in the future? Could this be like Mr. T or Zeus even, where we get further down the road and we get more Ali figures? I don't know. I can see them if they have access to it. Why wouldn't you milk it? Why wouldn't you get the most out of your molds? Why wouldn't you try to do something? I'm just trying to think what you could do with Ali. Maybe an Ali in a suit of some kind. I'm not exactly sure. But then you're kind of diluting the waters of your wrestling line. So it'll be interesting to see what the future holds for Ali. Now, personally, I would love to see, like I talked about, an Inoki and a Gorilla Monsoon 2-pack. I would love a wrestling version of Gorilla Monsoon. We got that in Jack's Classic Superstars. Mattel, why don't we get that done? I think that would be really cool. It'd be cool to have old Ali in the airplane spin with Gorilla Monsoon. I would love to have that on my shelf one day. I would love to see that, hopefully, in the future. And then Inoki. I'm not sure what's up with Inoki. I'm not sure his trademark, if it's like tied into New Japan, or I believe, my guess is he can do whatever the heck he wants. Obviously, he has passed away. He is a WWE Hall of Famer, so maybe that'll be in the cards. Could we get Inoki and Ali? And I truly believe an Inoki one may have done better than this. I don't know. It's a worldwide appeal of Inoki. Gorilla Monsoon, probably not the same worldwide appeal, but I would have loved to have seen a Muhammad Ali with a gorilla, a Muhammad Ali referee by himself, and then another pack of Muhammad Ali, with Inoki. I think that would have been a really cool way to go, and there's still time. They may do that in the future. But I would love to see an old school Gorilla Monsoon. Would love to see an Inoki in the Elite line or the Ultimate line in the future. I think that would be very, very cool. We do see in some of these glamour shots get a little peek under the tent of a future Roddy Piper Ultimate, the one that should be coming out, I want to say fall. I'm sure we'll see that at San Diego Comic-Con here in a couple of weeks as well. So that's pretty cool to see a little glimpse of that Roddy Piper in the future. But man, A+ photography, A+ presentation, A+ packaging on this. Just very, very cool, like Mattel always does. Just going to be interesting. I know some of the fan base out there has said this isn't for me, and I think that goes to some of the business talk I talked about. Is I think Ali's generation is more akin to the Bruno Sammartino generation than the Hulk Hogan or sooner than that generation. I think that's just really where it comes down to. And the Ali fans, they're dying out every single day, unfortunately. And then some of the older ones, they don't want anything to do with it. But how many 90-year-olds are collecting action figures? My dad always tells me I shouldn't be collecting anything at this point in my life, which I asked him, no, you're going to outlive me, Dad. You're going to outlive me. But it'll be interesting to see how this one turns out. And like I said a couple of times here, no doubt about it, it will sell out eventually. It's not made in mass-produced quantities. It will be rare, and this will be one of those ones that might grow in value down the future, like a lot of things in the world, of course. So there it is, a little quick first thoughts on the San Diego Comic-Con Muhammad Ali figure. An interesting one, no doubt about it. I'll definitely be getting 2 of these, one to open, one to keep in package. I'm sure a lot of you will do that as well. So, because people that are watching this, they're the hardcore wrestling fans for the most part. So there it is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, though. What do you guys think about all this kind of stuff? Where are you coming in? Are you picking it up? You passing? Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to this very YouTube channel. As you guys know, we got videos every single day and then some. And we got even more content for you over on the Patreon channel, where I think there's something like 250 plus videos that are currently on Patreon that are not on traditional YouTube, if you can believe that. Tons of content over there, a lot of bang for your buck, and most of all, it does help support this very YouTube channel. You can also support the channel at ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson, and don't forget about social media, SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at _Kyle_Peterson. So for Muhammad Ali, San Diego Comic-Con 2023, and Boss Rootin', I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.